All right. So we're going into Law Kelly stuff. So, and the difference between knowing via attention and knowing via direct awareness. So knowing via attention is like if I look at my hands right now, right?
Uh-huh.
The way the mind knows is that it's already labeled this and called it a hand, right? And calling these fingers. And it's labeling that it's like it sees this white color, this like have a fair skin, right? It's already labeling that. It's already using memory to understand that this is a hand. And then even when I put my hands away and if I place my attention on it, the way it knows that the hand is there is through memory. So it remembers that it's there, then it forgets. It remembers that it's there, then it forgets. It's a
Mhm.
series of rememberings and forgettings. And so where does it go when it forgets? It goes into like other memories, right? So it knows via memory that there is a hand there and that and past memories of what it's like to have a hand, right? So even when it comes to something as simple as a hand, it doesn't really see reality as it is. It just sees it through labels and memories and um,
Yeah, ways of kind of like
right, right,
there's like a pointer there. Okay.
right. And
Yeah.
then the second way of knowing is knowing via direct awareness. And what's genius about Locke Kelly is that um, normally awareness is very hard to know because it's so big, but he's discovered something called local awareness, where you can actually know your thumb directly, the actual physical sensation of the thumb directly, is from inside the thumb through direct awareness. This is local awake direct awareness. And from there, you can spread that awareness throughout your whole body. And how you know via direct awareness is also simultaneously who you are. To me, that was life changing. I was like, whoa, this was mind blowing because for me to know who I am, it used to take me like 5 day retreats for me to get to that place of like who I am. But once I realized that how I know via direct awareness is also who I am, I can do that, get there in 5 seconds every time, anytime I want to. I was like, whoa, that's amazing.
Direct awareness, kind of like, so as you were saying that, I became a conscious of the feeling from inside the bone of my thumb right here, right?
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
then like I just kind of like felt my whole body really like from the bones outward, and it's a
Exactly.
progressive awakening, right? Like it's like
Yeah.
eyes have to adjust to like feeling like
It's a
really,
progressive awakening. Exactly.
yeah. So is that what you mean by direct awareness?
Yeah, so from the bones in your thumb, you go into your whole body. Then you go into the space in front of your body, and you can feel that even with your eyes closed, that there is something. And it's like that is direct awareness because how do you know that there is something, right? And then you can even know it behind you, and then you can spread that throughout the entire room. And in fact, you can go as far as you want. Like you can even go like as far as the ends of the universe
Mm-hmm.
because direct awareness is simultaneously everywhere, nowhere, and here, right? It's awake. It has its own intelligence.
Direct awareness
Yeah,
has its own intelligence.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's different from like the mind, right?
And
And
I could have all of my direct awareness RAM going into the program of my mind,
exactly.
but then I
Hmm.
become my mind then,
Yeah,
which I actually am not, but then like I become the matrix in a way.
right. So he calls it Wi-Fi. So after you go all the way to the end of the universe, you can
Uh-huh.
then direct your awareness into your heart. And if you still need to use your mind, you do it via Wi-Fi. You can still have the thoughts come in if you need to. So this is where you get into like knowing how to like knowing when to use the mind and when not to use the mind. So for example, like if you want to make a plane reservation or do your taxes, then you use the mind, right? But if you want to be with another human being and actually connect, then there's no need to use the mind. Then you do it via direct awareness because you'll have a better experience.
Hmm.
Because especially when you're connecting with another human being, the mind comes in with all this like self-defense mechanism, solace, protection, and programming that gets in the way of a real connection. right?
Yeah.
This is where direct awareness is useful.
Hmm. That's a very interesting idea that direct awareness is who I am.
Yeah,
Because that's so straight to it from the perspective of who am I right now? Well, where's my attention going?
exactly,
This is who I am right now. Fuck. I don't even,
exactly.
okay, then I don't want to put it there then, right?
Right, it's so simple. There's nothing mystical about this, right?
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
this is who I am, exactly the way I am right now.
And what's interesting is that on the other side also echoes this idea that in I don't know, personal development or law of attraction, they say like, oh, you want to spend the time like with the people that you want to become like and stuff like that. It's because your direct awareness is going there and you're kind of
Hmm.
envisioning yourself being that person, and you're putting your directness more and more on, yeah, okay, like this is who I am, but then this is how I want it to be also. So you're experiencing yourself differently on the way or leading the way to becoming that different person,
Yeah,
like who you want to
yeah,
become.
yeah. Yeah, direct, like the more time you spend in direct awareness, the closer you get into your true desires and not into your cravings and like addictions that are not even yours, but were like programmed into you from childhood, right? From the culturescape, and and even from that law of attraction point of view, like it's easier to manifest your true desires because they're more in alignment with the highest good, anyways, right? Whereas your cravings are something that you thought you wanted, but they're not even yours anyway. You don't really want it anyways.
Hmm.
Like Like for example, I got this email from a guy, from a coach who said he was having like a session with one of his clients,
Hmm.
and his client said he wanted to go back to school to get his graduate degree, right? So he said, and an average coach would be like, okay, what can we do to make you accountable, right? Would ask a question like that. But because he was connected to his own body, he felt this tension, right? And so he decided to dive a little bit deeper and asked his client, so what does that get you? Like, so he just kept asking that question, what does that get you? What does that get you? And eventually it got to the point where the truth came out and the client said, oh, because I want to prove myself to my father. I was like, whoa. So it wasn't even his actual desire because the client then realized he could never really prove himself to his father.
Hmm.
And and so he saved himself like years and thousands of dollars because he realized he didn't really want to go back to graduate school.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, because that awareness is in the body.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
that's direct awareness. It sounds like could like emanate from the body outward, but sometimes we just like we're emanating from the mind outward, I guess.
exactly. So that's
Yeah,
the problem. We
or the
identify with
heart.
the mind, and that direct awareness is right now stuck in the mind.
Hmm.
And so where he calls it unhooking. He unhooked direct awareness from the thoughts and sensations in your mind, and then drop down into the heart and then into the lower body.
Hmm.
And it's as simple as unhooking. And when you see it as just one of the senses, it helps. It makes it a lot easier to unhook, to have that like foundation, I guess.
Yeah, I think of the mind like. I wonder what you think of this actually. By the way, I don't know if this is any of what you wanted to talk about at all, but this is fun. Sometimes I feel like you ever seen like Terminator or The Predator,
Uh-huh.
like those movies? You have this cyborg being or this robot, and they're looking at stuff, and there's this kind of extra layer. It's like scanning. Oh, this guy's face. What is he? He's not a threat, or he is a threat. He's 5'7". He likes chocolate, and he has like 72 guns or whatever.
Yeah.
Right? Like there's this kind of like overlay to reality.
That's the mind, yeah.
Yeah,
That's the
and
overlay.
and it's not necessarily programmed or calibrated the right way, nor is it really necessarily playing the same game that you're playing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. This is fun.
Cool. Yeah, this is fun. So,
Um, Go ahead. I was curious what you had in mind for today.
yeah. Yeah, so tell us, your meditation kind of intrigued me as well, all your practices. And I remember three of them that you told me so far. One is the one where you just walk around your apartment complex and then just record yourself talking out loud into the phone. And then the second one was something you posted as a comment. You posted two more meditations that you do. One is
Mm,
just going deep and then inside yourself underneath what are the thoughts and feelings, right?
mhm.
And that's kind of similar to a practice that I recently discovered as I was like meditating with somebody, which was that Eckhart Tolle talks about the pain body, right? And have you read like the Power of Now and stuff like that? Okay,
I
so
have.
right,
It's
so
somewhere in there.
right, so underneath the pain body, if you go really deep, there is kind of like a light body where he says there's an inner light,
Hmm.
and then so so you can just be still and get there, but sometimes you can just visualize it and get there too, like and realize. And then instead of staying in the pain body, you can stay inside the inner light. And so that's kind of like reminded me of that.
Hmm.
And then you said a second thing in that comment. Sometimes you yourself, like when you go deep, you feel this light, and then you just open up to others, right? And then you're almost like kind of like letting that light radiate out into people by opening.
Hmm.
So it's almost like there are two ways that you access the light inside. One is just by going deep inside yourself, and the other is just by opening yourself,
Oh,
right? That's
yeah.
the
I
way I
didn't. I
interpret
didn't.
it.
That's really interesting. I didn't see how those two were related at all. I think. But that's really cool that you see like, hey, that's like similar this way. That's really cool. Yeah. Um, yeah. I don't know where the inspiration for these came from. I feel like maybe David Data, or I'm just like reading around,
Hmm.
trying to understand different things. But those seem to be like the meditations that I just like evolved my way into based on
Hmm.
different things that I learned. Um,
Yeah.
the one about like feeling my body, like the balloon, like right, like in breathe, in breath, like feeling the energy moving around on the in breath, also feeling where the energy is not moving, and just kind of like not trying to poke at it, but just kind of like feeling around and like, yeah, there is kind of whatever. And on the exhale, kind of like letting that energy move even more wherever it wants to go, just kind of like loosening up. Like I remember at one point I was it probably didn't take that long, but I was tired after a long day. I
Hmm.
just felt this real buzzing in my body, and I was like, this feels really good. And there was a part of my body, it was like right here,
Hmm.
that like the more light the rest of my body felt and like the energy was moving, the more like I could really feel like, wow, there's something here that's really not like fully opening all the way when I breathe or something.
Hmm.
So I was like, all right, well, like maybe I can like wash it open with each breath, just kind of like wash it open a little bit.
Hmm.
And so I just kind of like felt like, and I just realized like, wow, all the other cells feel open and the energy can just flow.
Hmm.
So the more I did that, it was really interesting. The more I kind of like felt this open and loosen up, just because I could feel it more from breathing in and out of it.
Hmm.
The like I just kind of started to see like a light come through, and it wasn't like a golden light. It was kind of like a purpley sort of like,
Hmm.
it was a soft light. It wasn't like "Ah!" but it was
Yeah.
like a soft light that started to like glow out of it and just kind of like more and more. And so I just kind of
Hmm.
like let that light melt that, I don't know, still like
Hmm.
partially closed, partially opening part, right?
Hmm.
And it just kind of like yeah, at some point I was just really like I suddenly my arms came out like this while I was meditating, and I
Mm.
could just like feel this energy, and I was like, wow, like that just
You felt that spontaneously, like the arms came up?
yeah, like I mean I probably I don't think it was effortless. Like I'm pretty sure I was like, oh yeah, let's let my arms come up or something,
Mm.
right? Like it didn't just like bypass my awareness, but like when somehow I was like this, I could just like feel this like real energy, and I went from like a pretty like lousy point to like, wow, okay, like I'm back and I want to do something more to like move the ball forward somehow, or
Hmm.
like love on people more, you know,
Yeah,
and yeah, like that really did something for me. So I just that was one that I instinctively kind of went back to.
right. So it does sound like a combination of the two, where you started breathing through the fears and the suffering and all that, and then you felt the light, you felt at home, and then now you felt like, well, now that you feel complete, you just want to share this ecstasy with others, right? And
Mm,
just give it to others and like bless people. That's how I felt like a year ago. In fact, that's how why I started my co-meditation, co-creativity project that year. Where one day I was just sitting in meditation and I was just like being silent and like whatever came up, I was just allowing it and just being with it and I noticed, the first half an hour was just kind of horrible, right? I was just going through this thing, right? The stuff. And then about 45 minutes in, I was like really, really quiet. And then I had about like 10 minutes of total silence where like no thoughts, like not even any desires anymore, right? And then about 55 minutes in, like uh, a completely new desire arose. It was like the only desire left, which was like, oh, now that I feel complete, I just want to share this joy, this ecstasy with others, right? So I asked myself, how do I do that, right? So about another 10 minutes later, like the answer came, oh, this is how you can share this ecstasy. And the words were like, yes, and I am so much more. And at first I didn't understand it. And then I realized that yes, and I'm so much more was what I had been doing the whole time but but couldn't put the words to it. But now that I could put the words, I can reverse engineer what I did. So now whatever came up, I just kept saying yes, fully receiving it, and then I said, and I'm so much more. So what happened was I felt even more expanded. And then since then, every time I do this practice, it's like if I'm feeling negative, there's a relief. But if I'm feeling positive, I feel even more expansive because even the positive is just a phenomenon. It's just an illusion because I'm so much more even than that, right?
yeah, yeah.
So this is why I wrote a post recently that, we talk about removing limiting beliefs and NLP and stuff like that, like I'm not good enough.
Mhm.
But even I am good enough is also a limiting belief because you're more than just a concept. You're not a concept. You're so much more, right? And and from there, about 2 days later, like I was like, okay, so I got this for myself, but I still haven't found how to share this. Then the second statement came, which was yes, and you are so much more. And that's when I wrote an announcement on Facebook and said, I want
Mhm.
to do this with people and I want to do this for free because I just want to experiment where I just sit with people, with you, and just say, like, whatever it's going through, I'll just say yes, and you are so much more. That's all I'm going to do. There's going to be nothing like
Mhm.
special. But just by that, like miracles happened. People started having all these spontaneous feelings. And then I added another layer to this, which was that I suggested to people that after the meditation, they paint or write or dance as a way of like sharing the ecstasy with others so that when they see the painting or the writing, they'll feel the same peace you felt. And that was when like people started creating these beautiful paintings. I started writing beautiful poems. It was incredible.
Hmm. That's awesome.
Yeah,
Wow. You know, I mean, that's such a beautiful phrase. Yes, and you are so much more.
right.
Yes, and I am so much more. because that resolves this kind of, so like this phrase to me, like as a coach, right?
Mm-hmm.
We always, or like as a player, like I want to, maybe I should qualify what I mean by player later. But as a player, right? Like in the game, right? Like you always want to like you always want to. There's always a next level. There's always
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, I just got this move. What about the next move? Oh man, that's a hard trick to do.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to be able to do it. So what are the skills? Breaks down, right?
Yeah.
Like and there's, I mean, that's like, I was thinking about snowboarding when I was talking about that, but there's always also career. There's also many of my clients are salespeople, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
business owners, and they want to get to the next level, and they have this moving target syndrome,
Mm. Because they're
where
not a yes to the present moment. They're a no, and then they're trying to be so much more. So the key is yes, and I am so much more, and then you can
yes,
have more. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, because the thing is that what happens is that moving target, the target should move, okay?
Yeah.
Like your purpose should keep expanding. You should kind of beat level one and then go to level two. Absolutely, right? But then most people kind of take that moving target to mean because that's not enough,
Mm.
right? So
Yeah,
if I'm
exactly.
walking with you down a path, we go like, take another step, and you're blindfolded, and I'm like walking you down the step. You'll keep thinking that just because I asked you to take another step, that all those other steps that you took were not enough.
Mm.
And it's like, no, it's not that. It's that, like, there is so much more.
Mm-hmm.
You are so much more. Like, it's
Yeah.
just, that's, I guess, the belief, not because that was not enough.
Mm-hmm.
And like the game just gets so, I think, much more expansive and alive from it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Yeah. And remember that woman that invited me to house sit at her house in Encinitas, like for like 4 days or a
Oh
week.
yeah.
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 And it wasn't until she was one of my co-meditation partners that were doing these paintings because of the meditations, right?
Mm.
But I didn't realize like how much she was painting and how beautiful they were until I went to her house and the whole house, all the walls were filled with her paintings. I was like, oh my God, these paintings are incredible. I did not know, like, and all of it came from the co-meditations. I was like, oh my God, this is my co-creation too. I was like, this is amazing. It blew my mind. I was like,
Mhm.
wow, we did this. Like,
Wow. That must have been a crazy feeling. Like, hey, I was there for these
yeah,
without exactly being there, but there was a direct awareness that was there in that moment.
yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah,
awesome.
totally. And going back to what you are doing, it does sound a lot like a David Data thing because he talks about how we're either opening or closing all the time. And it's the closing that causes
Yes.
suffering.
Yeah.
So he
Yeah.
says, even if you're suffering, open through that, open through that because that's what you want anyways. And then it will probably get worse before it gets better. But once it gets better, it's like an amazing feeling. It's like because you've totally opened.
Yeah. Like I learned that when I got a Thai massage one time.
Oh really?
Yeah, because yeah, I mean they're pressing into your knots, right? And like it
Oh yeah.
hurts. They're
Hmm.
pressing into your knots and your, I guess, like your pressure points or something. There's like backward
Hmm.
energy. I don't know how that stuff works. I read a pamphlet. They're pressing and it hurts, and I swear for maybe 20 minutes I'm in there like, "Ah!" And what I think I'm trying to do is like I'm trying to like block out that pain and like tense around it, right?
Hmm.
And I'm like laughing out of pain. And
Hmm.
right, like you can get, like, it was so painful I just had to laugh,
Uh-huh.
right? And then like he stopped at some point, he's just laughing at me, and he was like, dude, you need to exhale, man.
Hmm.
So like he taught me to like exhale, like when I started to feel that pain,
Hmm.
instead of like fighting against it.
Oh yeah.
And I was like on a body level, there was this feeling like, man, if I do that, I'm gonna let the pain's gonna go into my heart, and I'm gonna die, or like my heart will explode, or just like some primal stupid thought like that or something, right?
Uh-huh.
And then so like he started going again, and I started to like exhale that pain, kind of like it was like a pain balloon, just like
Uh-huh.
working and like breathing it out, and like this fear kind of spiked, and then the pain kind of like left.
Mm.
I just like relaxed around that, and just like like pressing it out, and it hurts, but like I'm breathing out the hurt, and it was like a really excuse me, my mom's calling. I'm not gonna pick up, but I'll call her back. um, but it was like a really like physical, tangible sort of like
Mm.
incarnation of that idea. So I guess like yeah, like that idea has really taken with me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. That reminds me, you can take that to another level, right? Because another, and this is where Log Kelly has been really helpful too. Like I said, he's a genius, right? So, so for the past 8 years, I've been on this kind of like a quest, like, and it's not my main quest; it's like a side quest, but it's on my mind off and on, right?
Okay.
So, 8 years ago, I discovered something called contemplative movement,
Hmm.
and it's also known as authentic dance, apparently. And I discovered it in a book by Oria Mountain Dreamer, and it's kind of a similar story to your like Thai massage thing, like the way I discovered this, right? I was um, at the time I was working at a video game store, and one of the things I did was walk to the bank and deposit the cash for the store and come back. And that day somehow when I came back from the bank, like for no reason out of nowhere, I started having this incredible pain in my neck, and which was so weird. And I was in such pain that even my manager said, just go home, like, and but I couldn't even walk, so I had to call somebody, a friend, and said, "Can you give me a ride?" So he called me and he gave me a ride home, and he actually had to like kind of help me go up the stairs to my house, and I started laying in bed.
Hmm.
And after uh, after a bit of laying in bed, at least I could get up and walk around a little bit. So, and somehow I felt inspired to grab this book from my bookshelf that I hadn't read before. I think it was The Dance or The Call, one of them by Oria Mountain Dreamer. And I did, and I
Okay.
turned it to the page, and the story that showed up was that she was at a retreat center and she had horrible back pain suddenly that also came out of nowhere, right? And so she decided to go and see the massage therapist on site, but she was fully booked. But right next to the massage therapist was a class on contemplative movement.
Okay.
So she started doing the movements, and she said that in 20 minutes, the lower back pain was gone. Like, so it's like, that's amazing synchronicity. I'm in this pain. I was in this pain, and I'm reading this thing. I was like, and then at the end of the chapter,
I see how this is
right,
connected.
yeah. So at the
Okay.
end of the chapter, there was instructions on how to do it yourself. So I started following the instructions, and in about 20 minutes, like for me too, like most of the pain was gone. Like, and the amazing thing is that I could actually do the movements that I felt guided to do within
Mhm.
that context, even though before I couldn't even move, right?
Okay.
That itself was incredible. And then in 20 minutes, like most of the pain was gone. Like at least I could walk around.
Wow.
And I was like, this is amazing. And however, like I wanted to find a more simple, easier method of doing this. And I couldn't really find any like teachers or but over the years I found that two of my friends were doing something similar. My friend Viet was doing it within the context of his performance pieces. His performance pieces are full of these like spontaneous random sounds and movements that he's doing spontaneously that sound incredible and feel incredible to be in his presence when he does this. And he says this is what he's doing. And I was like, oh, that sounds a lot like contemplative movement. And then the leader of Contact Improv in Long Beach, she was saying that sometimes the way she does Contact Improv is just by staring at her hands, and she says she just waits, and her hands would move on their own. I was like, that sounds like contemplative movement too. I was like, whoa. So that gave me, this, so all these little bits and pieces of the puzzle started coming in.
Mm-hmm.
And then recently I started listening to one of the glimpse practices by Rock Kelly called Embodied Presence, where, and then once again, those like body scan meditations where you do, right, where you scan your whole body.
Mm-hmm.
Rock Kelly says that that's still doing it from the mind. There's another way to do a body scan meditation through direct awareness, where you let direct awareness go into each part of your body. And what's amazing about this particular glimpse practice is that in the last 2 minutes of this, he has you do something that I didn't even expect. And I was like, oh my God, this is like the final key to this contemplative movement, because he said, let direct awareness move your body on its own. And I was like, especially today, like the first time I did it, I probably didn't do it properly, but this morning I did it, and I was like, started moving in these really slow ways.
Mm.
And at the end of it, I was like, oh my God, I feel incredible. It's like those light meditations you do when you let the light go through every part, but it
Mm-hmm.
feels even better than the light because it's the direct awareness that went through, and the direct awareness that guided my body to like unkink itself in its own ways. And I was like, this is amazing. So it sounds a lot like what you did in that moment in time, Masad, where you breathed through that, and by doing that you accidentally like access direct awareness, and direct awareness was moving your body and
Mm.
healing itself, healing you.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
That is what happened. Yeah. Like, and
Yeah.
it just like I really kind of like let it take over, and I was still like curious and kind of
Hmm.
like aware of what was going on, and I'm like, all right, but like there was a lot of allowing too,
Yeah, exactly.
and then like, and there were some key moments I'm like, okay, like I had to say okay, but
Mhm.
like besides that, like yeah, it was like direct awareness, like
Yeah. Hmm.
that's a
Yeah.
good button to have on my keyboard.
Yeah. And an important thing about direct awareness is that it is aware of itself. So that itself is kind of hard for the ordinary mind to wrap around. It's like not only is it aware directly, it's aware of itself too.
Hmm.
Yeah. So not only is it aware of your mind and the body and the surroundings, it's aware of itself, and it's made up of itself.
Okay.
Yeah. And yeah, that's why one of the questions I liked that Locke Kelly would have me ask, and have the reader or listener ask us, am I aware of direct awareness, or is direct awareness aware of my thoughts and sensations?
Can you ask that again?
Am I aware of direct awareness, or is direct awareness aware of my thoughts and sensations?
So direct, there's something, I don't know how to explain this yet. It's just a feeling right now. But there's something outside of time
Yeah. Hmm.
about direct awareness then.
Exactly. It's timeless.
Why would that be timeless just because it's aware of itself? That's
Hmm. That's why it's timeless.
like my mind doesn't understand that, but my direct awareness gets that. Is that
Hmm.
weird?
Right?
What is that? What is that? Okay.
Yeah, yeah, you're having a mini awakening right now. And it's so simple and so easy and so fast. It's crazy.
Hmm.
Just through this conversation, and that's what I love about this.
Lock Kelly.
Yeah, it's called Shift into Freedom. They're both the book and the audio training. They have the same title, although they have a different subtitle. I think the audio training is called A Training in the Science and Practice of Open-Hearted Awareness. And then the subtitle of the book is just the science and art of open-hearted awareness.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
Can I ask you, Kendon, like what's valuable about this for you? Like I can kind of guess or whatever, right? Like, and on some level, I can just lazily guess that well, it's valuable because Kendon is like into this stuff, right? But
Hmm.
like beyond into this stuff, there's something very valuable about this that you see, like with Lock Kelly, like for freaking the guy doing construction outside.
Right. Um,
How do you explain that? Like, what is that value to?
well, the value is that before going through the stuff, like even after years of meditation, like I was still kind of like, and even after having had many awakenings at these retreat centers, right, and having my own mini awakenings, I was still very identified with the voice in my head, right? Like I actually there's many voices in your head there because there are many sub-personalities, right? And and I was aware of many of these sub-personalities as not me, but there was this one. It felt like there was, that one of them was me, whereas the others were not. You know, but recently I've been able to catch myself more often and realize, oh, even this voice is not actually me either, and who I am is so much bigger, and so it helps me de- be more like detached from like my story, especially my like anger patterns, right?
Uh huh.
Of my, I talked about how there are at least three or four types of anger, and the first type is the adult temper tantrum, where your stuff gets triggered and you get angry, and I
Uh
still
huh.
have that, and so it's not like I'm enlightened or anything like that, right? And I still have that, but now I feel like I don't I don't have to obey it. I don't have to follow its instructions. I don't have to go down that path. Like I can step back and remember, oh, this particular voice is not me either. Like and
Hmm.
and it does. And then Log Kelly mentions also that sometimes when we meditate and we completely unhook from the mind, we get into this thing called the gap of egolessness, where there's this total emptiness, and it's scary for a lot of people. And so, without direct awareness to hold the space, sometimes all these emotions rush in, and people can't handle that. But with
Yeah.
awake awareness, you can handle it. For me, that has happened, and Log Kelly
Hmm.
stuff has really helped me find something to replace that emptiness and be like, oh, like there is something bigger, like these emotions are okay. In fact,
Hmm.
like just a week or two ago, for the first time in my life, I could like truly, fully feel my anger. Like, and that was a huge breakthrough. And it was because I was able to hold the space for it via direct awareness. And then later that same day, I was at Contact Improv, and I felt one of my biggest fears that in my life, which is that I had this fear of like hurting women, right? It's like, and so I was again fully able to feel this fear. And then sadness came in because sadness is a feeling of letting go. Like sadness will come in every time you need to let go of something. That's another thing a lot of people don't understand. Like there's value in each emotion. It does its own purpose. So first I allowed the fear, and then I allowed the sadness. The moment I allowed it fully, like I started like having these tears slowly come up first, and I allowed that too. And the more I allowed it, what ended up happening was like I was in the in the bathroom at this point,
Mm-hmm.
and I found myself literally curling up into a ball and crying. And and then I felt such a relief. And then I went back into the contact improv space. And then I found myself like wrapping myself with a blanket and hugging myself. And then I sat down and then I cried again in front of everybody, not even giving a damn. Like total tears came out. And this time it was also sadness about the fact that I felt that I can only be this free in this context where society's norms are not like um, I don't
Yeah.
feel society's norms quite blocking me or imprisoning me.
You
And
don't
so
have
that
that
was
ruler right next to you.
right, yeah.
Yeah.
So that was sadness around that too, and I was able to release that. And the next morning, I felt like the most grounded and free I ever felt in a long time. Like I felt free before, but it was a bit ungrounded. But now it was free from a very grounded space.
Mm. Because you're back in your experience
Yeah.
through direct awareness.
Hmm.
How are you doing on time, by the way? Like I just looked at my emails, excuse me,
Yeah.
and
Slow time.
I I'm able to talk a little bit more. Like this is a fun conversation, and I right now I'm like I should pitch and catch with Kundan like once a month or something. Like and like I hopefully it's valuable for you, you know.
Hmm.
But like it's I think it's a the value I see in it for myself is just like validating ideas because I
Hmm.
think you and I are both cross-pollinating thinking people
Yeah.
and we think in a certain direction, you know? And I don't know, like I'm enjoying this. Like how are you doing on time though?
Great. I didn't have any like plan on how long this would be, and I don't really have anything
Okay.
the rest of the day until later evening.
Okay. Can I
Yeah.
can I validate something or like share and I kind of
Yeah.
your thoughts on something?
Hmm.
So recently I started to realize, right? I work with clients and like sometimes the language will be, yeah, I have to do that. Like I just have to do better. I
Hmm.
just do whatever. And that need to, that have to, part of me is like, well, why don't you just say that you're gonna do it? You know,
Hmm.
like what like if you're saying you're gonna do seven, you used to do one, you're doing three, you're moving in that direction, why not just say that you are doing it?
Hmm.
Right? And so it occurred to me that sometimes people because and I don't think I'm just being a language Nazi necessarily.
Hmm.
I think there's like a mismatch of frequencies there in a way.
Yeah.
You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like if they really want to be doing it, they it would be very helpful for them to be in the frequency where it's like, all right, I'm doing it. That resoluteness, but also that finality too.
Hmm.
You know? So
And
what
you're
occurred to me,
fully present when you're saying, I'm going to do it.
yeah,
You're a full yes rather than a half yes, half no.
yeah, exactly. Rather than like I have to, because here's what happens. They're a whole person and then they split off like 60% or 40% to say, hey, you have to. And they're like, oh, I have to, but like they're like 40% now going
Hmm.
into that have to.
Yeah.
You know, because so they kind of, like I feel like I'm not just gonna say them, like I've been a lot more aware of it myself,
Hmm.
where like I have to, I whatever, and like it's like I split myself. This person's not gonna do it. This person's the one that wants to do it.
Hmm.
But he's saying, hey, you the one that's not doing it, you go do it. And it's like, ah, but like
Yeah.
this is the guy that wanted to, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
And then so I've been playing with this and it seems like a really like it seems to like be saving us some good time when I coach my clients, but also with myself to be like, okay, I have to do this. And then just being back to like, and this guy's like, I don't know, scared or like tired or whatever he's feeling,
Hmm.
not doing the more, right?
Hmm.
So then like I found it really helpful to just be like, all right, yeah, like I am tired.
Hmm.
I am scared. Like wow, yeah, like I do feel that way about it. Okay. But I want to do this.
Hmm.
And then like still like want to do this. Okay, I am doing this then and like done. but like I'm doing it from like rather than like nah, oh I have to, but I'm only 40%. Like I'm doing it kind of like with myself. It's like I've kind of snapped back into the only thing that I have that I can do it with anyway.
Hmm.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah. And also kind of, I guess for lack of a better word, forces you to really inquire, do I really desire to do this 100%, right? Because if you feel that you have to, maybe you're not a fuck yes. And maybe you shouldn't do it if you feel that you have to. But if
Hmm.
you're going to do it, then just say like, I'm going to do this and I'm going to be 100% present for this,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah. I just find out like when I'm and it seems like for people too, like when they're able to just snap back into like, okay, here's where I am right now, and like here's all of me. Okay, I want to go. Do I want to go there? Yeah, I want to go there. Okay, well, let's go there then.
Hmm.
You know, and like not do this like kind of split off and like guilty frustration dance.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, language is so like the language we use is so like unprecise, and that's another thing that um I've been talking about lately. Like, and this might go off on a little bit of a tangent, but like say like we sometimes say, actually we often say like when we feel sad or angry or afraid or whatever, right? We say I'm afraid or I'm angry or I'm sad, and what I realized last year was that this is not even true. Like what's actually happening is that an emotion is flowing through your body. Like that's more precise to say anger is flowing through my body. And then it's even more precise to say anger is flowing through a specific part of my body. Like where is it flowing through, right? Then when you get that precise, you realize, oh, this emotion is flowing through this part of my body, but there are other parts of my body that are feeling completely different emotions, that we're more complex beings than that. And in fact,
Hmm.
there may be another part of your body that's actually feeling quite strong and beautiful and peaceful,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And and then you get into this whole like meditation where you can actually like surround that part of your body that's suffering with the part of your body that's feeling strong and just like be there for it, you know.
Hmm.
And I have a whole meditation on that. So I've been doing that for a while, and then one of Locke Kelly's practices took it to a whole other level. So now I've combined the two, where he said he calls it. So let's start with what he's teaching, and then what I'm bringing. So he calls this the 5 levels of emotional freedom, where the first level is I am sad, right? And then the second level is I feel sad. And then third level is I'm aware that I feel sad. And then the fourth level is sadness is welcome. I'm allowing sadness.
Hmm.
And then the fifth level is awareness and sadness are one. They're not separate. And simultaneously, awareness is so much more than the sadness, but it's like it's all just one thing. It's like, it's arising out of the awareness anyways.
Like
And
sadness is an awareness. It's not the whole of, but it's like
right, yeah.
yeah.
And and it's very liberating. And the step that I added to this was that after you say sadness is welcome, you say sadness is flowing through a specific part of your body. And then you ask the emotion for the message it has for you.
Yeah.
And then only then you go into like, awareness in this emotion at one.
Hmm. I've seen you share this idea of talking to the emotions
Hmm.
in different threads, and I really like that.
Yeah. Or even talking to your physical pain, because once it's got into physical pain, it's just that you kept ignoring the whispers of your body, so now it has to yell. That's what physical pain is. It's just your body yelling because you ignored it when it was whispering.
Yeah. You know, you know what was really interesting was I had a client that was a competitive paddleboard surfer.
Uh-huh.
So her body takes a beating, and like she really, I mean, she's I mean, she paddles for 10 miles in the water, and I don't even want to run two. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Crazy. Um, so we did this. We were working on we were working on like taking the waves, like when the wave comes, like to really just like open, expanded awareness, take the wave instead of like, when the wave starts to take, like part of you goes, oh shit, and it kind of clenches,
Mm-hmm.
right? So then like we're kind of like we're working on finding the sensations of the body that clench,
Mm.
kind of like understanding that trigger and kind of like learning to like feel that trigger and let the trigger move through instead of letting that trigger catch and then cause to close,
Mm-hmm.
and so what was really interesting was along the way, one of the things was like, like listening to your body and like feeling these, what does it need from you so that it can decide to really like let the energy move through instead of letting the energy catch, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, she said something really interesting, like, I gotta go see the doctor or I gotta take care of myself better, something like that. And then that led her to seeing the doctor, and then that led her to like discovering that she had this neck injury that she never took care of. And
Oh.
like she hadn't even, it's like been years since she's even thought of that, but
Mm-hmm.
like the body knew.
Yeah,
That's so crazy.
that
Yeah,
is crazy.
the body is, yeah, it's really interesting.
Yeah.
So direct awareness is,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I want to try meditating just with direct awareness.
Right. And then there is something called the cave of the heart, right?
Yeah.
It's it's the I love it because remember when I said you can place direct awareness into your thumb, right? What I love about the cave of the heart is that it's the easiest place for direct awareness to be in. It is like home. Like I call it, that's why I call it the most peaceful part of your body. And so and so when you did the opening meditation, you had kind of like an open day sky awareness, right? And whereas in the cave of the heart, it's more like a night sky, void, like dazzling darkness awareness. And so this is where it's located. So on the left side of your body, on your chest, is your physical heart, right? And then right in the middle of your chest is what a lot of people consider to be the emotional heart, right?
Like the heart chakra, or is that different?
Well, the heart chakra, according to Locke Kelly, is right below that, below the emotional heart, right?
Okay.
And and then right on the right side, there's this big empty space in the chest. I mean, energetically speaking, right? I mean, of course, there's your lungs and your ribs and all that, but there's energetically speaking, there's like this big empty
What
space.
would be like the liver
And
here or something?
no, on your chest, right?
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, right. So this big empty space is the cave of the heart. And if you drop down your awareness straight into this, which I prefer, like I've invented two meditations on my own, one using Om and the other using some light visualizations to access it, which feels pretty good too. But usually, like if you just do it through direct awareness, you find that it's like home. It's like so peaceful. It's like this deep, dark, vast void. And it's
Hmm.
like especially if you do it with your eyes closed, it's like, wow.
Hmm.
And then he says that it's very similar to a practice called Yoga Nidra, the cosmic sleep, where just like in Yoga Nidra, you can then direct awareness to drink, like for the rest of your body, using direct awareness, you can set an intention that the rest of your body is just drinking the energy from this cave of the heart and just giving you energy and rest so that you feel like way more rested than regular sleep. And this is why he says that some people even report that a few minutes inside the cave of the heart is the equivalent to like the best night's sleep of your life.
Hmm. That when I just dropped into there right now,
Mm-hmm.
it was I didn't play with it, but there was like a bottomless
Mm-hmm.
piece there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I was like, oh, I think he just sink in here for a while. And like that actually seemed to be okay. Like there was nothing like I feel like when because I actually have now that you talk about this, like have I ever really like had my like attention and my intention like in my heart and like
Mm-hmm.
getting into there, right? And like there's always something very affirming in there. It's like, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right? And like right here it's just like it's there's no like yeah there, but it's just like it's always safe and okay here. Like you don't even need the yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like it's the closest thing to being home in my body on earth without feeling like I have to like go to the afterlife to be home. Like I'm home here now.
Wow. Okay. I'm like if you see me turning my head, I'm just writing this down.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. And so what I've done lately, that's a light visualization you can do, but what's easier is to chant Om. So Locke Kelly has another meditation where you touch the middle of your chest and chant Om and become directly aware of it. But what I found that's even better is to touch the cave of the heart and then chant Om. And to me, like that feels so good that that's what's lately been motivating me to like really like get up in the morning so that I can feel that. And so it's like all you do is you just breathe in, touch the right side of your heart, and then you go, oh. Now we've gone even quieter, and and I feel like it's because you did it too, rather than me doing it alone in my room. That's almost like a double the quiet.
It's so weird because I'm
Mm-hmm.
breathing through this and there's nothing here. I mean, there's like my lungs and stuff, right? But like
Yeah.
there's like a presence here.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if I'm just like because my mind, but like no, like I think I'm directly experiencing or aware that there's like shit to do here. And there's like
Mm-hmm.
nothing to do here.
Yeah. So we can be free from doing here and be pure being, like right here, because there's nothing to do there.
What's in the middle of it? Dude, like that, like if this is the emotional center right in the middle, that emotional center lives between the dichotomies and
Mm-hmm.
the poles of the spectrum of nothing to do and got shit to do now,
Yeah,
right? And like
exactly.
that's the whole emotional spectrum of life right there,
Right there. Yeah.
right?
Holy shit. Yeah.
Like life is imperative. I have to keep beating now. If I skip one or if I'm off rhythm, this fucker's gonna die. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like right here, and
Uh-huh.
nothing that needs to
Mm-hmm.
be done here. Like it just is.
Yeah. Yeah. Everything and nothing and the emotional center.
Yeah. Dude, high five.
High five. We realized something important.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm. Well, this has been good. I feel like we're getting into a sense of completion
Yeah,
with that.
me too.
Yeah,
Yeah. What are you gonna do with this, by the way?
right. I think I'm gonna post it on YouTube, and I don't even know what to call it since we covered so many things.
Okay.
But and then post it.
True. You'll be able to splice it up if you want, I guess.
Yeah, and I might do that actually. Yeah,
Yeah.
and post. The main thing is a long form show, and then like title have different titles for shorter videos,
Hmm.
and then post them in my Facebook group, mainly in my group Phoenix Awakening,
Hmm.
and have it as something almost like having almost like a taste of the latest thing that I'm doing because I'm constantly evolving,
Hmm.
especially lately. I feel like I'm morphing really fast into like new and new things, and and that's another thing too. It's like there is there's the marketing. In marketing there's this pressure to be one thing, but I feel like in my case I'm more of like a polymath or a multi-potentialite, and I don't
Hmm.
necessarily want to be one thing or be known for one thing. Like for example, right now I'm doing purpose coaching for like other coaches and healers, but and visibility strategy, but I could still be doing relationship coaching and dating coaching too
Hmm.
simultaneously. In fact, lately somebody I gave a session to a few years ago as part of a group session reached out to me and wants to do like a relationship coaching with me, and I feel like yeah, I could still do that.
Yeah.
I don't really market myself as such anymore, but I can still do it.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Then it seems like if that's the game, then who you end up working with or who ends up working with you is not necessarily going to be because they've heard of you for like one thing or another thing. Like that could happen, but it like I imagine that that's more intentional, like prodding or prompting
Mm-hmm.
or exploration, like more like contingent on your presence and kind of
Mm-hmm.
like journeying with them in a way. Then
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think there is a common theme or thread to everything that I do, which is I
Mhm.
even in ordinary conversation like this, like I take people from a place of like constriction and feeling trapped into like feeling more spacious
Mhm.
and free and expansive. So especially in my Facebook Live videos, I've been like um, emphasizing and focusing that at the beginning of every video, and I say, all these Facebook Lives have a diversity of topics, but the common thread is that you will leave at the end of this call from feeling wherever you're feeling, whatever you're feeling, into more spacious and expansive and free. And that's my goal.
Mhm. I like that. That's a
Yeah,
good way to summarize and put it.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of going through my. It's kind of cool. Like I'm more in the rhythm of writing, kind
Mm,
of like creating language around how I talk about this stuff,
mm-hmm,
like that I do, because it's kind of fucked up, man. I feel like if I was just selling insurance or Legos or something, like that's easy to talk about, right?
mm-hmm.
But coaching and what I do, it's almost like the way that can be named that can be called the way is not the fucking way. So it's like whatever I say, it's not exactly that, but that's part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah,
but like I'm getting in the rhythm of I just why am I saying all this? I like the way that you put it, and it's a journey I'm taking for myself and how am I describing stuff.
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah, those are good words.
right. And you find your own words too. Like,
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah,
And you get most of your clients through like referrals and stuff, right?
I do. I
Yeah.
do. I mean, in like that's cool, and I don't want to be stuck just playing this game.
Right.
I guess when I say stuck, like I don't mean that it's such a cool thing. Um, but I feel like I could be giving people a better experience if I when I reach out to them and I've been introduced like, hey, here's a bio, right?
Hmm.
Here's something that you can know about me in advance,
Oh yeah.
and like, I mean, I guess having not done any of that so far, it's kind of keeping a lot of question marks in the air,
Mm.
but I could give people a better experience, I think, without kind of extinguishing that curiosity, and maybe even like,
Yeah.
breathe oxygen onto that curiosity,
Hmm.
but still give people a better, I just want to give people a better experience,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and I actually feel like I owe it to, okay, owes not necessarily the word, but like I feel called to, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
Yeah. And like I feel like it's only respectful of what I want to build and become to do
Hmm.
that now.
Yeah.
Yeah, in a way. I don't know where this is
Yeah.
going, but it's just something from my heart.
Right. Yeah. Do you like? Do you at least have a website right now, or you don't even
I
have
have
that?
a website. I'm getting ready to like redo a whole nother incarnation.
Okay.
The current website, I never really tell anyone to go there.
Okay.
I don't. People don't seem to hate on my website as much as I feel ashamed of it. But no, like I see an awesome website along the way that's just, yeah, like really simple. Like
Hmm.
I've gathered 11 pages of testimonials,
Uh-huh.
and it's like, okay, I don't need 11 pages of it, but I can pick four that
Hmm.
like really stand out and say, click on this link if you really want to beat yourself up and read the other 11 pages, just to make sure that whatever, right?
Yeah.
So I could have that up on there. I could, like I could have a resource center for my own personal clients that anyone can access, but then they can kind of get value from me as a coach without even being my clients right now. But my clients have a centralized resource,
Yeah.
not just digging through their friggin' emails.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a lot that I can do there that's gonna just be a cool expression of coaching and Calvin,
Hmm.
in 2017, in 2018, or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's cool.
yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for being on this call and just like pitching and catching with me. This has been a great co-creation.
Yeah, this has been fun. Thank you for the time in the space, Lyndon.
Yeah.
I'll see
Welcome.
you around.